Welcome to the Privacy Report, the show that helps you understand the invisible data streams flowing out of your home.
Glad to be here.
Today, we are staring directly at the biggest, brightest, and, well, arguably the most secretive device in your living room, the smart TV.
It's such a crucial topic. We tend to think of our TVs as just displays, a simple screen for watching movies.
Right, a piece of furniture almost.
Exactly. But the reality is that the modern smart TV is an always-on data collector. It's a machine that is, in many ways, primarily designed to profile your entire household.
And what's alarming about it is just how systemic the problem is.
It is. A lot of these brands rely on um, deliberately complex analytics and these consent loopholes. So even when you think you've turned tracking off, your TV is still quietly sending your viewing data, device IDs, network details, all of it to dozens of third parties.
That's the thing that really gets me. You buy this expensive piece of hardware for entertainment, but what you're really getting is a data siphon hidden behind a beautiful 4K screen. The sheer scale of it is, well, shocking.
It is. Because when you look at the business model, it all starts to make sense. The promise is convenience, right? Netflix, recommendations, voice commands.
Of course.
But underneath all that, the device is an aggressive collector. The financial interests of ad tech companies are just consistently prioritized over any basic privacy setting you might choose.
Okay, so before we really get into the mechanics of how this all happens, and the mechanisms are fascinatingly complex, just a quick reminder to everyone listening, you can always get more privacy insights and actionable steps by subscribing to our email newsletter. Just head over to theprivacyreport.net.
So let's start with the manufacturer's side of the story.
Yeah.
Their defense.
Their official line, yeah.
Right. Why this constant stream of data? They argue, and quite loudly, that this data collection is essential. They claim it's for customized recommendations, voice control, device diagnostics, all the things that make the TV smart.
And that sounds reasonable on the surface. We all want better features. The trade-off seems clear. Give us a little data, get better service. But this is where it starts to fall apart, isn't it?
This is exactly where the disconnect happens. Because independent researchers who've actually analyzed the network traffic find that the bulk of that data has very little to do with core functions.
So it's not really about making my recommendations better.
Not primarily, no.
No.
In practice, the destination for this traffic is advertising, it's behavioral analytics, and, most profitably, the resale of aggregated household insights. And studies have shown, time and again, that smart TVs transmit data even after users have actively declined what the TV labels as optional services.
And it gets even sneakier than that. I was reading that this whole process can start before you've even finished setting the thing up.
That's right. Before you've even had a chance to scroll through, let alone agree to, those huge terms and conditions documents, the data pipeline might already be flowing.
So the TV is essentially optimized to start harvesting information the second it gets an internet connection. It just assumes consent from the word go.
It's an aggressive default.
Yeah.
It really is.
So let's talk volume and content then. You mentioned a single smart TV can generate hundreds of outbound connections a day. That's a huge amount of traffic.
A staggering amount.
And if it's not just for recommendations, I mean, what's actually in there? What kind of specific granular information are we talking about in those hundreds of connections?
Well, we're not talking about simple anonymous counts. We're talking about incredibly detailed information that paints a near-perfect picture of your household's behavior. The traffic analysis always reveals 4 core categories of data being shared.
Okay, let's break those down. What's the first one?
First, and most obviously, is your full viewing history. This includes every channel change, the exact content you stream, and detailed timing of when you start and stop watching.
So they know precisely when I switch from the news to a cooking show and for how long.
Precisely. And they know how many times you paused it. The second category is detailed app usage and interaction timing.
So not just what I watched, but how I watched it.
Exactly. Which streaming apps you open, how often, how you navigate the menus, which ads you see inside the app, and even how long you hesitate before you click on something.
That interaction data, that's gold for behavioral profiling. It goes so far beyond just simple viewing history.
Absolutely. Then the third category is your network identity, your IP address, and with that, your approximate geographic location.
Which is enough to tie it all back to a specific household for targeted ads.
It easily allows that, yes.
Yeah.
And the fourth category is what really seals the deal for monetization.
Let me guess. Device identifiers.
You got it. Persistent device identifiers tied directly to ad profiles. These aren't temporary cookies. These are unique tags, like an ad ID, that let ad exchanges build these comprehensive, lasting profiles of your household based purely on your viewing habits.
And those are the keys that let them target ads to you on your phone, on your laptop, everywhere else.
That's exactly how it works. It links your living room to the rest of your digital life.
It sounds like this isn't some accidental data leak or a bug. This is a core part of the smart TV's financial engine.
It is absolutely structural. The analysis shows connections going not just to the manufacturer, but to this complex web of third-party domains, cloud platforms, ad exchanges like Rubicon Project or Google Ad Manager, analytics vendors.
And it's not just one bad apple.
No, this is systemic across the whole market. Samsung, LG with its WebOS, the Roku TV platform. They're all built on this model.
And this isn't a new problem. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, they've penalized TV makers for this kind of thing in the past, right?
They have, which just underscores how entrenched this issue of non-transparent data collection really is. Regulators have been playing catch-up for years.
Okay, so this brings us to the $100 million question.
Yeah.
What happens when we actually try to turn it all off? Do those built-in privacy settings, those consent screens we all click through, do they actually work?
We hope they do. The expectation is simple. You see a toggle that says disable ad tracking, you flip it, and you assume the privacy gate just slams shut.
But that's not what happens.
Unfortunately, no. The research shows that these consent mechanisms they're often designed just to satisfy legal requirements, to tick a compliance box.
But not to actually stop the data from flowing.
Exactly. They meet the letter of the law while completely violating the spirit of privacy.
That feels like the ethical black hole right there.
Yeah.
So walk us through it. How does the tracking system manage to bypass a user's explicit choice to opt out?
There are really four main ways they do this, four layers of, let's call it bypass mechanisms.
Oh, wait, what's the first one?
First is what we can call mandatory tracking. Manufacturers just label a baseline level of data collection as essential.
Essential for what?
For the TV to function or to get firmware updates. And because it's essential, there's no opt-out. You can turn off personalized ads. But the fundamental diagnostic tracking, which often has the same key identifiers, that just keeps on running.
So they split the tracking into a bad part you can disable and a necessary part that still collects enough data to profile you anyway. Okay. What's number two?
The second is fragmentation. They hide all the data collection settings across multiple separate menus. It's not intuitive at all.
Ah, so you turn one thing off, but you miss the other four toggles buried 3 menus deep.
Precisely. You might turn off personalized ads in the main settings, but you miss the toggle for behavioral diagnostics or usage reporting tucked away in some advanced submenu. It feels designed to make you give up.
That's user fatigue by design, and even if you do find them all.
Well, that brings us to the third one, which is the reset trap. Routine firmware updates can, and often do, return all those settings back to their factory defaults.
You're kidding.
Not at all. So you do all that work, you find every toggle, you opt out, and then a silent update a month later just re-opts you back into maximum tracking without telling you. Privacy requires constant vigilance.
Wow. I spend 15 minutes setting my privacy, and a silent update just undoes it all. That's a deliberate choice. Okay, so what's the fourth mechanism?
The fourth one happens outside the TV's own settings. It's the use of independent SDKs, or software development kits.
In the apps themselves?
Yes. When you download a streaming app, that app often has its own third-party code embedded in it for analytics and ads. And these SDKs can send data out completely independently of the TV's master privacy choices.
I see. So I tell the TV I don't want to be tracked, but the specific app I installed is running its own tracker that just ignores the TV's global setting.
Precisely. It creates a parallel data stream that the manufacturer's own controls can't touch.
Speaking of things operating outside our control, we have to talk about the microphone. People are always worried about this. Are smart TVs actually listening all the time?
Some models, yes, they absolutely keep their microphones active for wake words. They have to be listening for, hey, TV, or whatever the command is.
Yeah.
Now, they aren't typically sending raw audio recordings up to the cloud constantly, but the mic is powered on and processing local audio unless you explicitly go in and disable that feature.
Which is a huge privacy concern on its own.
A massive one.
Wow. Okay, so this whole picture, the mandatory tracking, fragmented settings, the reset trap, the app SDKs, it makes it very clear that trusting the device's own settings is, well, it's not enough.
It's simply insufficient.
So if we can't trust the software on the device, where do we turn? What can people actually do?
The big takeaway here is that network-level blocking is the single most effective defense you have. Because the software is designed to bypass your choices, the only reliable solution is to block that traffic before it ever leaves your house.
Okay, so let's get into the actionable steps. What's the combination of protections that works best for someone who wants to keep their smart TV features but, shut down the spying?
It's a layered defense. You start on the device itself. First, go into those settings. Disable every optional tracking feature, every personalized ad setting, and definitely any voice control features you don't actually use.
And avoid signing into the manufacturer's account if you can.
Yes, absolutely. Avoid signing in entirely. That reduces the personal identifiers they can attach to your activity right away.
Okay, so that's the internal side. We know it's leaky, but it's a start. What about the network side, where the real protection happens?
That's where you use something like DNS filtering. You can think of your home network like a house, and a DNS filter, like a pie hole or similar firewall rules on your router, is like a really strict gatekeeper.
I like that analogy.
This gatekeeper has a list of known addresses for advertisers and analytics servers. When your TV tries to send data to one of those addresses, the gatekeeper just stops it.
It just says, sorry, that address is a known tracker, access denied. And the data just stops right there at the router.
Exactly. The TV tries to phone home, and the filter just says, no server found. It's clean, it's effective, and it blocks the vast majority of this non-essential traffic.
What about using an external streaming device instead? Just ignoring the TV's smart features and plugging in an Apple TV or a Roku stick. Is that inherently safer?
Often, yes. An external device usually gives you better, more centralized privacy controls. But it's not a silver bullet. You still have to be vigilant and configure the settings on that device. But it does move the data collection away from the TV's manufacturer, who is often the hardest to block.
So you're moving the fight to better ground, even if the fight isn't over.
Precisely. You're trading a difficult fight for a slightly easier one.
And for advanced users, the ones who are comfortable with network settings, what's the gold standard?
The gold standard is to isolate the TV on its own restricted network segment, sometimes called a VLAN. This puts the TV in a kind of digital cage. You can't talk to any other devices on your home network, and you can strictly limit its internet access only to the streaming services you explicitly approve.
And what if someone just wants to use it as a dumb display? Can you just not connect it to the internet at all?
You can, yes. But you have to accept the trade-offs. Most of the smart features will just stop working. And be warned, some TVs are programmed to be, well, pretty annoying about it. They'll repeatedly try to reconnect, pop up network setup screens. It can be a real battle of wills between you and the operating system.
So connecting all this back to the bigger picture, what's the final thought here?
Given how much the internal consent mechanisms have failed us, from mandatory tracking to those setting resets, the lesson is clear. You have to take control of the pipe, not just the tap. The most effective way to protect your household is to proactively audit your TV's network traffic and just block all those non-essential connections at your router. That's the real frontier of TV privacy today. It's the only reliable defense against the biggest spy in your living room.
That is fantastic practical advice. It really gives people the tools they need to fight back. Thank you for walking us through all of that.
My pleasure.
To all our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the Privacy Report. If you found this discussion valuable, please take a moment to like and subscribe wherever you get your shows. This episode was made with the assistance of AI. We'll see you next time.